Hey everybody, I'm Curtis.
And I'm Shank.
Welcome to the Good Buds podcast.
Let's get high.
Welcome to the Good Buds podcast, the show where good buds smoke good buds and talk about them. This is episode 4, airing Monday, September 7th, 2020, on Spotify, YouTube, Anchor FM, and more. Thanks for joining us.
Today's episode is brought to you by Absolutely Fake Video Game Testing Site. On our site, you can give us your email to enter into our beta tests. We'll send you game links, only some of which will be malware, and completely ignore your bug reports. It doesn't matter anyway, because ultimately the game will still be cancelled, and we'll just sell your email to the highest bidder. Follow the link that won't be in the description below to give us all your personal details.
High-risk security sites. So anyway, Shank, how are you doing today?
Oh man, I'm absolutely fantastic. I have had a beautiful day. It was nice here. I was kind of busy, running around doing some errands and everything. How about you?
I've had a good day, but last night was a little weird. I had a weird dream.
Yeah, what was that?
Yeah, I had this dream where I was stuck in a saw trap essentially, and it was just it was weird.
Oh man, that is really like freaky.
Yeah, I had this. Well, I don't really want to talk about it, but I had this device attached to me, and it was a dildo on a robotic arm, and it moved whenever I had to remember something.
Oh man, that sounds like wait. So it was one you remembered? It was activated by mind, like
Yeah,
mind control.
yeah, I know. It fucks me up every time I think about it. So anyway, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you like what we're doing, check out our Patreon and consider donating to the show. We will be adding reward tiers in the future.
We absolutely will be doing that. Now, Curtis, let's get into the review.
Good Buds Review, Good Buds.
So, Curtis, what are you burning today?
Well, Shank, today I am burning on some Glookies. I know, very interesting name. Well,
Yeah.
it's Glookies, or its other name is Gorilla Cookies. It's a combination of Gorilla Glue 4 and Girl Scout cookies. Initially created and originally created by Elevate Seeds. Now, this is a indica dominant hybrid. It has these very interesting nug shape that's relatively dense, but the inside of it is a lighter green as opposed to the outside, which is a darker green. It has these very little orange hairs that just barely stick out of the middle of the nug. Uh, in terms of the smell, it's this very excellent, peppery smell to it that is added by with this nice light orange citrus smell over top of it. But the peppery notes are definitely more prevalent. And there's a light hint of floral at the base of it. Now, the interesting thing is when you grind it up, the citrus and the pepper are still there, but the floral comes out a lot more.
Nice.
Like, so it's a very interesting nug all around. But yeah, I can't wait to taste it.
Yeah.
What are you gonna be burning for us today?
Today I have some Delahaze. I don't know its heritage as well as you know yours, but I know that it was two marijuana plants that obviously loved each other very much. Made this beautiful dark olive green nug. Fairly, large nugs, long curly red hairs on it. Gorgeous, they pop out, super noticeable. It's got very fluffy nugs though. You pick it up, it feels like a ping pong ball. It's kind of weird, but when you bust them up, a nug turns into a handful. And it has a nice light, even crystal dusting around the whole outside of the nug. It's a beautiful thing. As for the smell, of course, I gotta get a nose full of sour candy. Geez, man, like up here in Canada, we got them. They're called rockets, but down there, I think they call them Smarties. They're like these hard nuggies. Yeah, they're like the hard, sour candies. Smells like that very sharp, nice sour candy smell, like when you unwrap a pack of those and it hits your nose. Not like the idiots in high school who used to crush them up and sniff them, but it's got a strong, tangy citrus smell.
There.
It's got a strong, tangy citrus smell to it, though, like a nice lemony, tangy citrus. with a very mild mango and pine notes sitting down underneath all of that. And over the whole thing, there's a skunky hit to it. It's absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love it. At least that's my take on it so far. I think that we should, yeah, try them out. What do you think?
I would agree with you there. I got a bowl fully
Yeah.
packed of some Glookies right here.
Beautiful. Now, before we hit these, once again, we'd like to plug the Instagram here. We will post nugs pictures of these beautiful, beautiful nugs on our Instagram. They'll be up, I don't know, sometime before this episode, I believe. So go ahead and check that out. And while you're there, give us a follow. Or what do you do on Instagram, Curtis? I'm not
Follow.
savvy on. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Just more plugs. Let's try them out.
I agree with that. Light it up.
Later, though. Ooh. Oh yeah, Curtis. How's yours hitting you, buddy?
Oh boy, oh boy. So first off, this nice peppery feeling in my mouth. Like the pepper definitely, stays strong with it. And mind you, not like ground pepper like you would put on a table, like a green pepper really. Like this nice mild, but you still feel that taste. Um,
Mm.
but that is the first initial hit that is immediately like pushed away to give way to this floral taste, like this very rose-ish, very floral taste. Taste of how you smell, as we've discussed before.
Yeah.
Um, it's very nice. It's not particularly a very harsh hit, but it's a hit that would be better for uh in a bong with an ice catcher, I would believe, just because, or you know, somebody who
Yeah, like a
obviously,
bubbler.
yeah, like a bubbler or something to reduce it a little bit more. But it's not in any way harsh. It's just definitely a more potent hit, I would
It's
say.
like a
Yeah,
hot hit.
yeah. But how would you say
Yeah.
yours is?
Well, that mango and lemon that I could kind of smell before, come right to the forefront. It gives you that really strong hit of fruit, and sweetness. It's a very full smoke, so the smoky flavor is there. You get that burning kind of like, the nice burn to it. But it's a hard hit, but not a harsh hit. It's hard to explain the difference. I'd say you can take a puff of it and you've taken a large puff of it, and when you blow it out, it doesn't make you cough a lung up or feel like you're turning inside out like some strains that I've smoked in the past will do, and I'm sure we'll try them in the future on this podcast, and
Right.
reactions may vary. Obviously, as always, these are opinions, but it's a gorgeous, gorgeous puff. Feels great going in. Can't wait to smoke a little bit more of it. But before we even think about that, what are they saying about these strains on the review sites, Curtis?
Well, as always, our review sites are obviously just opinions of other stoners. We are other stoners adding our opinions to the internet. But
Opinion.
But according to these sites, Glookies gives you more of a calming and relaxing feeling. It's a very good physical pain relief, a very good stress relief, but the one downside to it is cottonmouth. So
Ooh, hope you got a drink nearby.
I got a couple. So
That's good.
as for
That's
the
good.
as for the Delahaze, it's looking like it's a more focused, energetic high. It's a active high with a mellow, relaxing come down. But the one downside of yours is you are indeed going to get a case of the munchies.
Oh no. Well, luckily I have several crunchy methods of sating munchies nearby. You guys will probably be hearing those in a little bit.
Rip to the headphones users.
Rip to the headphones users and people who hate hearing people chew, because I do not chew with my mouth closed when I'm stoned. So sorry, folks. But anyway, what do you say? I'm sure. Hold on.
Anyway,
I'm getting a wave, Curtis, through my psychic powers. They're hitting me. You have a joint next to you, don't you?
hold on a second. Oh my god, how'd you know?
Dude, psychic powers, dude. They're coming out hard. So I've got a joint in my hand right now, and I think that's what caused the
Wow.
resonance. And I think it'd be a good idea. to burn these. What do you think?
I think that would be a fantastical idea.
Well, like you said, I think on the first episode, it's always 420 somewhere.
Exactly. Let's burn it.
Let's burn it. Oh man, yeah, this is absolutely beautiful stuff, man. I love this feeling, you
So I
know.
got a new phone today.
Oh sweet, you got a new phone, dude. What kind of phone?
So I got the Galaxy S20.
Ooh, they're at 20 now, man. I remember when the S4 came out. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna date myself. That they're on S20 now. That's cool, man.
Dude, the phone that I just gave up was a Galaxy S6. So
Man, that they're moving. They're
I
moving
think I've
quick.
they're either moving quick or I've missed a couple numbers or they missed a couple numbers. I'm not entirely sure, but they also
They
put some
count.
S's and some X's in there. So
It's true. It's true. They count like the kids who snort rockets.
so
No, so
yeah.
tell me about it. Tell me about it. Tell me about your
So
day getting your new phone. I want to hear this.
so the day was, relatively basic. I looked on my phone the last time I had to pay my bill. I'm not, my service is through AT&T, but
AT&T. I used to work for them, by the way, up here in Canada. I worked at a call center where I handled tech support for their general cell phone users and then for their BlackBerry users. So if you're out there in podcast land, and about 8 years ago or so,
quit
you were with AT&T,
quit dating
then I
yourself,
may have
bro.
I may have talked to you.
Quit dating yourself, bro.
I may have been 6 when I worked there. Go ahead anyway. Go ahead. Tell me.
Can I
Continue.
help you? This is
Yeah.
AT&T customer support.
Hello, thank you for calling Shanka BlackBerry Support. Can I please get your 10-digit wireless number starting with the area code? No, you've
Okay.
reached BlackBerry Support. You want internet support. I'll transfer you.
You are going to
Stupid
get
fucker.
transferred.
I'm going to transfer you and then have nap time.
But anyway, sorry. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. Do you want to
So,
say any? So you check
so I
on
went
your
to the
bill.
AT&T store I was checking on my bill through my app, and an
Yeah.
update came up, and it's like, hey, you're due for an upgrade. Go head into an AT&T store and pick one out. So go to
Lit.
the AT&T store today, and usually I'm not gonna say I don't like iPhone, but I'm a man who prefers Samsung.
And now hear me out. Apple, like this is the thing. We're not going to take a divisive stance on the
Nope,
podcast here for all of you listeners. We if you've got a
Shank
phone
it.
and you love it, that's
It's
good.
you. That's all you.
But
I'm not.
yeah, that's
I
but
prefer to
Apple.
use Samsung or Samsung,
Yeah,
but go ahead.
yeah, but well, I won't take a divisive stance on it. But I know that Apple has its perks, but I'm personally an Android user. But Apple has its perks. You
I've
you do
I've
you.
had iPods before. They're
Yeah,
great for music and stuff like
I
that.
love GarageBand. By the way, I love GarageBand with
Exactly.
all my heart.
I've used GarageBand as well before. So
Yeah.
no
So carry
shitting
on.
on
Carry on.
Apple, just I prefer Samsung.
Yeah.
So went to the Samsung section and there had the Samsung Ultra Note, which essentially the same phone, just slightly bigger, and it has a
Aren't aren't they
uh.
like the size of your face?
I don't. It
Like they make
looked
the big ass notes?
it. They have big ass notes, but this one wasn't like super huge, really.
Oh,
At least
okay.
that I saw. But
Just a
it
pocket
had
note.
a stylus and shit attached with it, but
Fancy.
that was a little too much. So I just went with the
Yeah.
regular S20 Galaxy, which is
Hmm.
already an upgrade, kind of familiar upgrade from what I had. So I'm like, it's gonna be easy to understand. Dude, I understand what the fuck parents are like when they get a new piece of technology. It's exactly the same as my old phone. Like, it's exactly the same,
But
no issue.
everything is
But it's
different.
so fucking different, I don't understand it.
What is it? A wise man on a cartoon once said, I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was, and I wasn't with it anymore. Now it is scary.
Oh, oh
Or
yes.
some shit like that. I don't even
That's
know.
pretty
I'm
accurate.
butchering that Grandpa Simpson quote. Hold on, no, one
No,
second here. I'm gonna.
it's good enough.
Fuck it,
But
fuck it.
anyway,
Good enough. Close enough. That's the idea stand. But
so
like it's true.
and
Times they are changing.
And the other thing that made it relatively easy, or I thought it would, is the fact that they transferred all of my apps and all of my contacts and everything from
Oh.
my old phone to my new one, making it
Mm-hmm.
super easy. So I'm like, okay, I
Barely
don't
an
gotta fuck around
inconvenience.
with all that shit. Exactly, super easy, barely inconvenience. Shout out to Ryan George.
Shout out to
Um,
Ryan George. Subscribe to him on YouTube. He is goddamn hilarious.
fuck
He's
yeah.
not sponsoring us, by the way. But if you want to shout us out, we love you. We love you.
So
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
uh, yeah. So I get all my apps and everything downloaded. They go to the exact spot where they were before. Now, one of the
Lit.
weird things with this phone already.
Pornhub app right where it should be.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
one of the things that's initially weird with this phone compared to my
Yeah.
old one had like these little this bar at the top and the bottom
Yeah.
where the screen didn't go any further. This one, the screen
Oh.
extends the entire fucking face of the screen, and it's fascinating to me because the front-facing camera is literally just this little black dot at the top of my screen,
Yeah.
and everything else is just glass buttons. And
Just yeah.
I don't know, like it's not like
We're
my
in the future,
first.
bro.
I know
Bro, we're in the future.
it's not like this is my first time having a smartphone. Like I get it's
No, but
technology, but
we
this
are
is
way
my
in the future though. They have
this
like
is
curved glass now.
that's the thing. I have it has curved glass on it, like curved glass
Yeah,
sides,
yeah.
and it
They
scares
have
the fuck
glass.
out of me because I'm gonna
They have
drop this
glass.
and shatter it.
They have glass that you can bend. Like you can fold it, man. It's we live in the future.
Dude, I saw
Dude, when
that.
I was a kid,
I saw that when I was there. They had the
yeah,
fucking bending phone. I could have gotten
straight up.
that for an extra like $40 or $50 a month, but I'm
Like
like,
I
dude,
know,
fuck
right?
that
but
shit.
fuck that, fuck that.
I'm
No,
gonna crush it in
I've
half
heard
the
across.
opposite way
No,
because
I've
I'm
heard
gonna get
across the
drunk.
board. Yeah, I've heard across the board that they're not great phones anyway. Like most review sites I've checked on them. I mean, check your own reviews if you're out there on podcast land and thinking
Yeah,
about buying one. I am not by any means giving
right.
a personal review because I've never touched one. But from reviews that I've read from other people, their
Yeah.
opinions, but they've said that they aren't great phones. So you're probably smart to get the Galaxy.
Well,
I
the
would
thing
highly
is with
recommend
me
getting yourself
is
a fucking life-proof case.
no. The thing with me is I think I would accidentally bend it the opposite direction and just completely shatter the phone,
Yeah,
and
fucking
that's the problem.
origami
I
it or
don't
something
want
while
it.
you're drunk. Like have a few drinks or something, and just
Look,
fucking
my phone
origami the
bent.
thing.
Fuck.
Look, I made my phone into a goose. Curtis, it's only supposed to bend once.
Dicks.
Shut up.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I can
No,
see
I
that though.
didn't.
But I mean, that's
It's a
cool.
gimmick. I didn't even want it.
It is. But I mean, the Samsung, if you get yourself a like fucking solid case, like I personally
I
love
do.
OtterBox. I swear
Of
by
course,
OtterBox.
always buy an
Yeah,
OtterBox.
OtterBox. I
I
swear
went
by
with
them.
the.
There are other great brands out there, but I swear by OtterBox myself. They're what I
I
put on every phone I've ever
always
owned.
same here. Always, I always get an
And my
OtterBox.
phones, the
I've
battery dies before the phone does.
I haven't cracked a single smartphone since I've started getting smartphones because I always put them in OtterBox cases, and I always
Yep.
at least get some form of shield protector, either invisible glass or InvisiShield uh,
Yep.
screen protectors.
Yep.
Not
Smart thing
again,
to do.
not sponsored, but they are
Not
just
sponsored
great
at all.
fucking screen protectors and
But
phone
hey, once again,
cases.
as we always say whenever we say not sponsored, if you want to sponsor us, there's ways to contact us. Do it, and we'll say probably yes.
Quit whoring ourselves out that early.
I know it's only early. Yeah, we'll whore ourselves out more later.
Exactly.
But no, that's awesome, man. That's fantastic. So you went with the S20, like so
Exactly.
that's fucking sweet, man. It's
And so a couple of the
yeah.
things that I immediately did with it because I didn't
Hmm.
know that you could do these on new phones without having to pay arm and a leg. Mind you, my bill only went up a couple extra dollars, like
Yeah,
20 extra dollars. So it really
nice,
wasn't that bad.
dude.
Uh,
That's not bad at all for an upgrade, and it's only a temporary thing while you're paying off the phone, right?
yeah, and not
It'll
to
go back
mention in
down.
15 months I can trade this in for a brand new phone. No problem.
Hmm.
Whatever the new model is or even if it's the same model, don't matter.
Boom.
Um So yeah, first thing I did was created an AR model of myself and started taking pictures.
Yes,
And I
that was the
looked,
picture you sent me earlier.
yep, I swear to God, I look like
Yeah.
I'm straight out of a Jimmy Neutron cartoon.
No, dude, seriously, I pictured you 100% being like,
Oh, Jimmy, I don't think you're supposed to have dark matter in your backpack.
like, it's like fucking, I
Jimmy,
pictured,
I don't think
Jimmy?
you're supposed to have dark matter in the backpack at school.
yeah,
Shut up,
exactly that.
Kyle.
As a matter of fact, you should totally insert, like, if you feel like it, insert that picture into the YouTube video. You kind of have to now that I mentioned it,
I was
but
already going to, so redundancy.
he was
Go
already
ahead.
going to anyway. So he was already going to anyway, so this is the perfect point to do it. But no, that's fantastic, man. I friggin' love that. Like, that's cool. So you've made AR model of yourself,
Yep.
like,
Well,
on your phone.
yeah, with what they had on there. So I
Yeah.
started taking pictures of that, fucking around with that. Download
Yeah.
some games, started playing the games that were already on here. Like they hooked me up with this Final Fantasy game that it's it's like just a Final Fantasy.
Is it called Dirge of Cerberus?
No, it's like a new empire.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy game.
I never
It's
heard of that, but tell me about it.
it's like one of those empire building games. I didn't get too far into it because I guarantee I'm gonna get way too far into it later.
Yeah, hashtag once again not sponsored, but it's
Now,
not like our sponsor. No, I'm just joking. It's not that either.
now,
Go ahead though.
the one thing that was disappointing is they obviously pre-loaded the phone with Candy Crush. Had to get rid of
Oh
that.
yeah.
No, no harm if you don't, or
Yeah, if
no
you play
foul if you
Candy
play
Crush,
it,
that's
but I
fine. We're
don't.
just not fans of the
Okay, we
gameplay.
gotta stop doing that. We gotta stop
No, we
just
can't.
who fucking cares
Yeah.
anyway? So
Okay,
yeah,
blanket
phone's
statement. If
cool.
you get offended by anything, we don't mean to offend you. We love everybody. Just like
We love you,
we're
but fuck
yeah,
you. You know.
just fuck you. I mean, we love you, but we're gonna say fuck you an awful lot, and it's not in an abusive way. So just listen to this one statement now, and it's a blanket statement. So there you go, Curtis. Carry on. Final Fantasy and Candy Crush deleted, gone. After
Exactly.
Candy Crush was removed from the phone, as it
But
should be, because it's a trash game to us.
Blanket
Then
statements
what
up. Who
happened?
gives a fuck now? But
Then what
no.
happened?
So
Yeah, then what happened after that?
so the phone did come with some good apps that I haven't tried before.
Hmm.
Pluto TV. Okay,
Is
blanket
that like
statement
all?
again.
Is
None
it?
of these are
Okay,
ad reads. I just
yeah,
fucking
none
like
of these
these
are ad
apps.
reads. Okay,
Pluto
so Pluto
TV.
TV. Now, is that anything to do with Eddie Murphy?
Uh, that'd be Pluto Nash TV.
Damn it! All right,
But
go ahead though. Pluto TV.
Pluto TV is essentially like just free TV on your phone.
Is
It
it a
was just
platform that we could get onto?
I don't think so.
Oh, damn
Maybe
it. Just
I don't
try.
know.
Let's
We should.
try.
We'll try later.
Let's
But
try. Coming
yeah,
soon.
literally,
Maybe.
it was already on my phone. I entered it. As soon as I entered it, it started playing me live TV. I clicked on a different channel. It was playing live TV, like of just different random shows, like The Walking
Lit.
Dead and like True Crime and Forensic Files and all that shit. It
Law
was
and
just
Order
on there.
Special Victims Unit. Bong
Prob bum
bong.
bum bum bum. It was probably on there. I didn't look far enough.
Bong bong. I love being just the bum bum part. I don't have to do the hard like saxophone solo or anything. Though I am one time just gonna say Mariska Hargitay. All right. So anyway, yeah, you were watching live TV shows. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
So Pluto was pretty cool. It's surprising that my phone actually comes with a free trial for Office, but I have to pay $300 to get it on my PC.
Moderate oof.
Moderate oof, but all right.
I know, right? I just use
Weird flex,
freeware
but
shit.
okay.
There are so many great freeware
We use
like
we use
word
Google
programs.
Drive, and it works
Yeah,
just
Google
fucking
Drive.
fine.
Yeah, hell yeah. Or WordPad. WordPad's a thing. I mean, if you
Exactly.
know how to properly format your shit, then WordPad. It exists. It's free. It's...
Exactly.
All right, but anyway, I
Yeah.
digress. So it has Word on there with the free trial, which is neat.
I haven't really tried it out yet, but I did get, signed up for it obviously, and no, it
I'll
just
send you
works
I'll send
pretty
you a
nice.
PDF later.
Ooh. I like
Not
the
that
way
kind of
sounds.
PDF.
Ah, fuck.
I
Please?
don't know. We'll talk to Isaac, see what he'll send you. All right, but anyway, so it's got that. So
Uh,
you got the trial for that. That's awesome.
exactly. One last thing I got on here that was relatively interesting. I don't know, just the dynamicness of it, I guess, in general,
Yeah.
is just
Well,
relatively
it's like
fascinating.
it's got that new phone smell, you know, like it's got that new
Exactly.
phone smell, and it's one of those things. Actually, speaking of new phone smell, I very soon am going to purchase a new bong, and I'm inspired because of you buying a new bong.
Oh yeah, you saw that picture on Instagram?
Yeah, yeah, I saw
Well,
that picture.
obviously.
I knew about it beforehand, and obviously we share an Instagram page, so it's gonna be there. But yeah, and so I was inspired, so I'm gonna be going to buy a new one soon, man. And like, there's nothing like that new bong feel, you know, like that, and
Oh yeah,
even better than that, the shopping for a bong,
absolutely.
you
Like
know, like that.
just going in and seeing the glass, just being able to talk to another person, just be like, you know what, this is what I'm interested in smoking out of. This is
Yeah, and the really cool thing about most shopkeeps is that they're really into the glass too, right? Like they're into that kind of thing. So you can sit there and talk to them about the artistry that goes into making the different bongs, you know? Like there's like
exactly.
I mean, and there's something for everybody. Like I mean for every puffer out there, there's like, you know, there's basic bongs. Like if you're a joint smoker, they even have bong attachments that you can put a joint into.
Exactly.
Like, I mean,
Or you could
I've
just
had
make
several.
birthday cakes, but
Yeah, make
whatever.
birthday cakes, which are fantastic as well. Then,
If you don't
you're lighting
exactly
a
know what
candle.
that is when you roll a joint, you then put the end of the joint
With
into
no filter.
with no filter,
Very important, no
no
filter.
filter. You then put the end of that joint into a bowl of a bong or something like that. You then pack it around with more weed to fill it
And
out.
crystal into it, and like maybe some oil just to make it fancy.
Whatever you want to do. If you want to add oil in to glue it into place, that would actually work really well. So
Mm-hmm.
then you light the joint, have the joint burn all the way down, and when it burns all the way down, it lights the bowl. And that is the birthday
Yeah.
cake.
Yeah, it's a birthday cake. It's a fantastic thing. Some people also call that a time bomb, but I
Or
prefer the birthday cake connotation because it's birthday cake.
birthday cake.
And it's weed. And no, so yeah, so like there's like a bong for everybody, They've got like actually for as a matter of fact, I was on the Discord server, servers bouncing around again the other day, and someone on there shared a picture of a vulgar pipe. It was a bong that was basically designed to look like you were taking a puff from genitalia, and I was like, "Hey, interesting. I probably wouldn't add it to my collection."
He was
Somebody
taking
put
some
a
schlong hits out of it.
yeah, somebody put a lot of effort into making that, like clearly, because it
Of
wasn't
course.
like a cobbled together like piece of like crap. It actually legitimately had some detail in there. Like there was I was gonna say there was one or two pubes, like so like it was detailed, right? And you could tell some glassmaker spent time like making this product, and like it's an art form. And I love art in like I love saying that things are art and having them be art so long as the intention that they were made with is art. You know what I mean?
Of
Like
course.
it's like a lot of people are like, well, where do you draw the line? Like, how do you know? Like, that's just a pile of garbage. It's not art. And you can look at it and say no, because somebody made that with the intention of it being art. Like the intent is all that matters. Like the intent to create art is the ultimate really only thing that matters, and that's what I love about the glass blowing, is that they can make it in all kinds of forms, and if they intended to make a bong some kind of glass, even if it turns out wonky or fucked up or anything like that, that's a piece of art, man. So
Absolutely.
you can talk to the dude about that. And so when you went to buy your bong, I'm sure you had some great discussion about some of the bongs that you saw there.
Of course. I Now my discussion on my bongs always varies when I go to shop for new ones. And I'm a firm component of if you have the space, you have the resources, and you can display all your bongs, as long as you keep them pristine and nice and everything, absolutely display them in a case. I want to do that when I have, a better space to live for myself. But
Or
uh
once we get an office, if you guys pay us enough money for us to like have a unified office somewhere on the border,
exactly. But
half in Canada, half in the States, that'd be fucking hilarious. No, Curtis, you can't come over here without passing customs.
you,
Can't
can't
pass
pass.
that joint without handing it to the TSA agent first.
We have to put a
it's
fucking
like those.
embargo on a joint just so we
It's
can
like
pass
it's like the
it.
dudes. It's like the dudes from the last episode who like confiscated the weed and probably smoked it all at the border.
Exactly.
You'd like light the joint and you'd pass it to the TSA agent. He'd take a hit as a tax and then pass it to me.
So
Oh man, but
anyway,
anyway, yeah. So anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
so yeah, I'm a firm component of, saving your bongs if you can and if they're not broken. But
Yep.
otherwise, if you really want, bongs and stuff like that, I store a couple away and then I try to get one new one either when one breaks or every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah.
bit of a stretch
Well, a
between every.
rotating backup. I always call that my rotating backup system. It's usually
Right.
what I've got too. Like,
In case
cause
something
I
breaks or something goes wrong.
yeah,
It's
like
inevitable. Stuff
I like to
happens.
have a main bong that I use as like my main bong. Right now, it's my skull bong. It's kind
Well,
of
you
little,
prefer joints in general, but
but I prefer
still.
joints, and I don't really use. But like, it's good to have a main bong and a backup bong, right? And my backup bong is actually a clear pink acrylic one. It's one of those. They're not acrylic. It's like silicone, like a hard silicone, heat proof.
Yeah.
And it's great. It hits fine. It's just no frills, but like it's not a great bong. It's not like one of those bongs that when you look at it, you're like, it doesn't have that je ne sais quoi, that little chef's
Right.
kiss to it. When you look at like when you take a hit from it, you're like, holy crap, that's beautiful. Like I think the best bong I ever owned in my life was Gear Glass Bong. That when it had like nice percolator in it, like your beautiful new bong. That's on Instagram, our Instagram, which will be linked below. That bong has that nice percolator in it, right? And it had one of those as well. Had a nice ice catcher, this weird shape to the glass, and the bowl on the bowl on the bottom was nice and full. And I don't mean the bowl where you pack the weed. I mean the shape of the actual bottom was like nice and full. So when you bubbled out of it, it had those nice deep glug 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 bubbles.
Right.
And my bong now has little piddly bubbles. So I'm thinking it may be time to get a new
Right.
bong, because your new bong sounds so great.
Well, for me, when it always comes to picking out a bong, it always depends on, multiple things.
Mm.
For me, it was, like I said, I always rotate them out every so often. So I think I've had this one, and all my other ones are kind of broken. I do have pipes and stuff, so I figured it was time to get a new one, treat myself, really. And this
Mm.
one, it's been about 3 years, so.
As a great couple
Right.
of people on a TV
Yeah,
show once said, treat yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, my determination for what kind of bong I want is usually it. I mean, it all depends on what's there, but my main thing is
One moment before you get to your criteria, I just need to make a note for the audience and for yourself and for myself. The munchies kicked in.
woo,
But go
woo,
ahead.
woo. Munchie alert.
Munchie alert, munchie alert. The munchies have kicked in. Munchie alert. Ah! Okay, so anyway, sorry about that. Go ahead. What are your criteria? I'll try my best not to crunch directly into the microphone.
You know what's sad about that? Cottonmouth.
Boom. Okay, yeah, these strain reviews that are on the site that Curtis sourced from, there are many of them out there. They may be contradictory. Blah, blah, blah. We already did blanket statements, so fuck it. The out there on the review sites, they are accurate this time.
Pretty accurate.
I'm feeling very energetic, very uplifted. I've got a nice airy feeling, like light. I feel like I could fucking run a lap around the house right now, but I know that I would die if I did so. So I have clarity of mind. Clearly, and it's a nice, uplifting, very happy feeling weed. So I'm feeling good right now. Is yours doing pretty much what they said yours would do?
In the
Nice and
meantime,
calm?
I'm chilling out, relaxing, all cool, but my mouth is really dry. I really need some drool.
Word, yo. That's beautiful. No, that's great, man. They're pretty accurate this time. The reviews have been great. So sorry for that interruption. It was absolutely random.
How you
But
feeling,
anyway,
Shank? Other than that,
oh man,
that's how you feeling? Feeling good?
I'm feeling awesome, uplifted, energetic. Absolutely,
Good? Nice.
it's great, great, man. This is good stuff. I am
good.
very
Feeling
focused. I definitely
yep.
have the munchies.
Yeah.
Feeling
good.
feeling
Feeling
energetic. Woo. And I feel like I'm active. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm sitting here doing this podcast right now, and I'm just kind of chilling out, relaxing. But I wish I had my guitar in my hands, but that would really disturb like the flow of the podcast with me just belting out Wonderwall. So I'm not going
Shank
to go
has
ahead.
devolved to that asshole in the room. So anyway, back to bong shopping.
So anyway, back to bong shopping. What are your criteria for when you buy a bong? When you buy a new bong, what are your criteria for
Curtis's
like your
criteria.
needs, your must-have? Curtis's criteria. Go ahead.
So learning from over the years, I figured out multiple things. First off, if it's not a clear bong, it's really hard to tell how clean it is on the inside. I'm not saying it's a downside. You can clean it, but it's hard to tell exactly how clean it is. And most of those ones usually have down stems that are stuck inside of it, built into the pipe. At the same time, these are more decorative, but I prefer clear pieces. It also gives me incentive. It also gives me incentive to clean them more because they need to look good. Obviously.
Yeah.
Gotta
Yeah,
take
when you
care
got
of
a
your
clear,
pipes there.
yeah. Yeah, like when you get a clear bong, you need like to
Not
keep
even-
it nice and clean.
not
But you
even
can
when you have
see
a
all the
clear-
resin, so
well, not
so
even
it's
when you
easy
have
to
a
do.
clear pipe. You have to take care of your piece. Oh, you always take care
Always
of your piece.
take care of your piece. I mean,
But when it's clear-
you got to treat it like a dish in your kitchen.
Exactly.
You don't let your plates get
Yes.
covered in gunk, right?
But-
Like, and then still eat off of them.
But when
I
you have a
hope not.
clear
If you
piece,
do,
you have. But when you have a clear piece, you have more incentive really to
yeah, Because you're
take
looking at
over.
it, it's staring you in the face. It's kind of like if you've got like, it's like a pair of shorts that are sitting in the middle of the room versus a pair of shorts that are thrown in the corner of the room. When you walk into the room, you're more likely to kick those shorts over to the corner of the room if they're not already over there, because that's where those damn shorts belong. But like, it's like you see it
So
because it's staring you right in the face. You walk in the room, first thing you see is the dirty glass.
so anyway, after that, my next thing is stability. So either a nice wide flat bottom or a beaker bottom are my best.
Yeah,
I don't like the bowl bottoms because they're easy to tip over. If it's a
truth.
small flat bottom, they're easier to tip over, and it also depends on their height. There's inertia, center of gravity, stuff like that.
Truth.
So,
See, I
but
like a
we'll get to
round
height
one.
in
I
a
like a
second.
round. Yeah, I like a
But
round one with a glass base, like a nice wide base, but it's got to be a round one. But yeah,
if it
yeah.
has,
Go ahead.
see now if it has a bubble, but it also has a base attached to it, that's solid. But if it's
Yeah.
just a bubble with a flat bottom,
Mm, mm-mm.
it's a little more of a iffy. But
You
I
can. What
my
what is
general
what is it the
preference
kids are saying these days? I don't fucks with that.
exactly. My general
Yeah.
preference in general is just a beaker bottom because it's always
Beaker World's
stable and
classy.
it's still a bubble pretty much.
Makes you feel like
So
a scientist. It's classy.
exactly. Not to mention it fits well when I sit with it because I can just cross my left arm and it can just sit right on there and meet up to my lips.
Mm,
Speaking of
yep.
which, but anyway, on top of that, I also prefer at least one percolator.
Yep.
Now, depending on what kind of percolator it is, because there's the octopercolator, the honeycomb,
Oh
double
Jesus, there's
perks.
so many. There's
There's
like
so many
dragon
different
head ones.
types.
There's so many
So
different perks. You can't even. Yeah.
so it doesn't really matter. I just prefer to have at least one.
Yeah,
And
just something cool, and cool looking does help too, right? I mean, like
exactly
if it's got a cool looking perk, that's,
right.
but it has to be. This is a thing while we're talking about percolators. Very important bong shopping tip. Look at the thickness of the glass on the percolator, because one of the first things that often breaks on bongs with percolators is that little stem at the base of the percolator, and it just kind of screws the whole thing over.
Yep.
So if you're buying a bong with like a fancy artisan looking percolator, just make sure that the glass on that percolator is reinforced, because if it's not, it's going to snap off at some point with the heavy like artistic thing. Because my buddy had one that had an octopus on it, and it was fucking sweet, man. Like
Yep.
when you smoked through it, like bubbles would come out from underneath the octopus, and it looked really cool. But one time he set it down on his coffee table, and now this dude, when I say he was careful with this bong, he actually had a coaster on the coffee table that was like a thick
Specifically
coaster
for it.
that was specifically for the bong. Like, dude took care of this thing. And so he set it down on this one day, and he heard ding inside, and the octopus was leaning to one side, and because the weight of the glass of the art octopus, it apparently just him setting it down was enough to fracture the little base where there was a weakness, and it just fell over and just ding, and it was
See,
just resting against the side of the bong.
and that was bringing me to my next point. Actually, it's a very good
Yeah,
segue. The next
yeah,
is bulkiness. You can't have one that's too light, but you also can't have one that's so overbearing and heavy that when you set it down, it'll crack itself. Because I've
yeah.
had a
If you
bong
want,
that
yeah,
did that. It was
yeah.
actually a really nice looking. I called it the breaking bong, not because it broke,
No, yeah, before
ironically,
it broke.
before it broke, but it was because it was designed with Breaking Bad style logos on it. It had Heisenberg's face on it with the word Heisenberg. It had the Breaking Bad logo in the periodic table looking elements symbols.
Nice.
It had the fly on the back of it. If you're a fan of the
Oh,
show,
nice.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. You know the bottle episode.
Exactly. And along the side it said breaking, and on the other side it said bad. Now, this was a relatively thick size piece, but again, this was a very dark, uh, not dark. This was a black piece, and all the thing on it was vinyl decals on the outside that were lime green, so you couldn't see inside of it either. So it was also extremely difficult to clean. But on top of that, one time I set it down
Oh
just
yeah, black
normally,
bong, Jesus.
and the bottom of it split. When the bottom of it split, I'm just like, oh crap! I had to fix it with epoxy resin, which eventually, fixed it. It was fine for a while, After a while, it's
Temporary fix though, unless you like do
exact.
like a super crazy ridiculous like sanding and everything else type job. It's
But after
temporary.
a while, it started leaking again, and then after a while, I broke the downstem on it anyway, so it had to be retired. But
Yeah.
it was still a nice
The
piece.
breaking
But
bong became the broken bong. That is the story of that.
well,
Yeah, the day the breaking bong became the broken bong. But yeah, like, and that's exactly it. Like, if you like, I like to say when I'm bong shopping, if I want a war club, I'll buy a war club. I should have gone to the war club store.
exactly.
We don't have one of those near here. Maybe I should open one, and that would be a fucking niche
I've
market, man.
I've always wanted to open a knife store, but that's a
You
story
know
for
what,
another day.
Curtis? Yeah, so we'll talk about that another day. Someday, me and you, if this podcast thing doesn't work out, buddy, we may need to start weapons of like an implements of war shop, and people will go in there and be like, "I want guns," and be like,
No,
"Bitches, leave! This is a sword and fucking like
sword and
bludgeoning
knife,
device store.
gentlemen. This is a gentleman's dueling
Yeah,
shop,
this is a
except
gentleman's
for
dueling shop. If you want
guns.
morning stars, flails, or maces, speak to my friend Shank here. And
We
if you
also
would
have
like stabbing or slashing or any kind of implements like that, speak to me.
katanas.
And if you would like something made of rope to just simply whip your enemies with a bunch of times, talk to our apprentice in the back. He'll be hiding under the pile of straw.
Or our
But
other
yeah, man,
apprentice, he'll probably be chained to the wall.
he'll be chained to
Take
the
the
wall,
gag out of his mouth,
somewhere in the
and
yeah,
he'll
somewhere
teach
in
you
the
the
middle.
way.
He'll teach you how to do that shit. But and if you want a gun, just I don't know, go to one of the many gun shops. This is definitely not a gun shop. But
Exactly.
yeah, that'd be fantastic, man. I would love that. But yeah, I agree, man. Your criteria are solid. They're good, like on point criteria for buying a bong. It's got to be solid, but not too solid. You know, it's got
Oh
to have
yeah.
a percolator because percolators are bitching. I assume the percolator aspect includes also an ice catcher, right? Because most of the time percolators have second layers anyway, so that you can
Oh yeah.
use it as an ice catcher.
That was coming.
Um,
Ice
yeah,
catcher.
yeah,
An
yeah.
ice
That's in
catcher
there
on
with the
top is
percolator.
definitely a nice little. It's not a necessary, but it's a nice little additional. I think
Like a perk. Ha!
exactly. Exactly. It's a perk to it. But
It's a it's a perk above the perk.
and then
Insert cricket dot MP3. But
final thing
yeah.
I the final thing I prefer is removable downstem, just for ease of
Mm.
cleaning. But again,
See what
that's a
I like.
preference, not a necessity.
Yeah, what I like for that for the most part is I like to have the bowl, the separate bowl, so it's like glass on glass with the bowl top, and then it's got the downstem that's stuck in there semi-permanently, but it's still removable. Like it's just got a fat downstem going down into it that you can still take it out. I mean, you don't pull it out with every toke, but the bowl separates from the downstem.
Yeah.
So like that one of the so like and because I love that because it's with I like to be like a weed experimenter, you know, like I like to do weird MacGyvery stuff, like we were talking about actually in episode 1, some of the creations that you came up with,
Right.
and that kind of thing, right? Like it's was that 1 or 2? I think it was 1.
One. That way.
But yeah, well, but anyway, so kind of like I like to do that kind of stuff, and it allows you to customize your bong a little bit more. So you can buy like the bong, and then you can get like
The
different
attachments.
bowls. Yeah, like different bowls. So you're like, today I feel like using this bowl. Today I feel like using that bowl. So I could get the joint attachment or the big, thick, fat bowl for when I really need a fucking huge hit
Or
after a bad day or something.
I
Or
like those because you can also get, the ash catchers on them. You can get the extra attachments, the extra bubblers that make it
yeah,
that both keep your piece clean and also just add extra flavor and extra,
yeah.
fun for your bowl, pretty much.
Whenever I'm looking at the accessories section, whenever I'm like, whenever I'm in a glass store and I'm looking at like the accessories section where they've got all the different like ash catchers and bubblers and stuff like that,
Right.
it makes me realize how gun people must feel when they get the different gun attachments. Like, I get it. Like, it's like people are like, it should be simple enough them just owning just owning a regular basic gun. And then gun people are like, no, man, like they're all the same anyway. Like all this is just adding flair to it, right?
Yeah.
And like and it's like, it's kind of it's cool, man. Like it like you take these like you take this basic bong, you can take even just a basic piece, and like through the careful application of random attachments, make this fucking tactical night vision fucking like semi-automatic like bong, and just like
The
like
Bongzooka.
Like a fucking yeah, dude. They actually have a bongzooka.
The
So like, I'm like
blunderbong.
these markets are way more in sync than I ever thought they were. It's
Exactly.
crazy.
You have the
So
bongzooka, the blunderbong, the PP bong.
yeah, oh man, yes,
It's just this tiny
the
little
fully
piece that goes
automatic
pew, pew, pew.
machine, the fully automatic machine bong.
The bowling M29.
Like,
I don't know if that's a real gun.
I don't know. That's probably is. It probably is.
Anyway,
But anyway, man, I was thinking now would be a fantastic time to transition to some marijuana news. How you feeling about that?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So what you got going on in the Canada side?
Well, once again, I'm gonna be that dude and talk about weed plants getting taken, but that is not the most crazy part of the story.
Okay, let me know what happens.
So, so 15,300 marijuana plants got seized from like a rural place in Kawartha Lakes, which is a place in Ontario. It's not a very big place. It's close to Dunsford, which also isn't a very big popular place. You'll never see it in a Marvel movie. But it's like, it's just this rural area. So 1,300 marijuana plants were seized. So the OPP, which is the Ontario Provincial Police, seized more than 15,000 cannabis plants when they raided a place up in Kawartha Lakes, and this was on Thursday, so very recent. And they said it was part of an ongoing investigation. They were checking into it already for a while. Members of the street crime unit went in with a search warrant to this rural property, and they were helped out by another police unit from like nearby, and also an emergency response team, which is kind of like our version of SWAT. They're like the non-military version of SWAT, and because we have a military version and they're scary as hell, and they had a canine unit as well.
Military Mounties.
Yeah. So, oh man, they're scary as fuck, bro. Well, that's the thing is, yeah, they're called Central Region Emergency Response Teams.
So creams?
No, it's like Creerit, like
Sure.
Creerit. I don't think they were
Creatine,
focusing on the
got
whole.
it.
Yeah, creatine, yeah. So anyway, so creatine went in, and a canine unit went in, and that's the non-military version. We have a military version called JTF. They're essentially the Navy SEALs, the Marines, the Spetsnaz, and a whole bunch of other fucking badass motherfuckers all rolled
Buck
into
from Rainbow
one
Six
unit.
Siege.
Yeah, Buck from Rainbow Six Siege is a good example of JTF.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Except even he's not like, yeah, he's a good example. It depends on the player who's playing him. If you're really bad at playing him, then no, you are a poor example. But if you're a good player with Buck, then yeah, you nailed it.
Anyway.
But anyway, so 9 people got arrested, right? And some of the items, this is a big part, some of the items seized included 15,300 cannabis. Hold on, let me get on my news reporter voice while I read this out. 15,300 cannabis plants, cannabis bud, vehicles, industrial-sized dehumidifiers, generators, and the most important and insidious part of the entire plot, a riding lawnmower.
Not the riding lawnmower!
Yeah, bro. Yeah, the riding lawnmower. I mean, what are these
No!
dudes? They're gonna be, yeah, dude, they're gonna have to use a push mower now.
Jesus Christ, the humanity!
They didn't think about their backs at all. Like, clearly the OPP did not care about these people's backs.
God.
They took riding lawnmower. The riding lawnmower. What did the riding lawnmower do to anybody?
They took the mower!
I know they took a mower. But so anyway, a quote from the Ontario Provincial Police says that the property featured a very structured growing site that was being operated outside of the Health Canada regulations. The investigation is currently ongoing, they say. So basically what the whole thing is that in Canada, with marijuana legalization going through, our marijuana is controlled by Health Canada. Health Canada has regulations in place for who's allowed to grow weed for sale in Canada and who's allowed to mass produce. Any Canadian that wants can grow marijuana for personal use, but you're only allowed to grow up to 4 plants for yourself. I think 4 plants per adult per household. So if you got like 2 adults in the household, you can grow 8. But that's unnecessary. These people were growing 1,000 or 15,300 of them, and they weren't a government sanctioned operation. So they got arrested, and now all of those agents that were there that day, and probably a few of the canine units, are going to be baked as hell tonight.
If not, then it's going to be a nice little tax bump going back into the economy, hopefully.
Yeah,
Or
that's right. Yeah, I mean, it's and
if they
honestly,
put
I
it
hope
back,
they
but
won't. And
they're probably
the
going to
good
get
thing is,
towed.
well, yeah, but the good thing is also that they won't crack down on these people either. Like, even though they were producing 15,000, this is the important thing to note. Even though they had 15,300 plants and they had marijuana already previously packaged and ready to go, that was separated and already
Right.
processed. And they had dehumidifiers of an industrial scale, meaning that this
Right.
was a large scale operation. And they had, multiple generators, meaning it was a large scale operation.
Right.
And they had a riding lawnmower.
A fucking riding lawnmower. Right.
These people, even though all of this was taken and they were arrested and everything else, they'll probably be fined, and if anything, they might face like a year in jail if they're complete fuckheads. Otherwise, they'll get fined, and they're done. They're like, yeah, it'll go on the criminal record as like illegal production or something like that. But it's like
Right.
basically they'll get a fine and they won't go to jail. The fine is
Exactly.
the fine's probably going to really suck. Don't get me wrong; like it's going to be a
Absolutely.
bad fine. But
With how much
they're
marijuana they
yeah.
were growing, hopefully they
But for
made
how much
enough
weed they're
money
growing, yeah. But how
and
much
saved
weed they're
it.
growing, yeah. It's not gonna be one of those things where it's gonna kill them,
Nice.
like And so like
That's
it's
interesting.
it's one of those things where with marijuana legalization here, it's like it's so strange to see how people went from so militant to not militant at all overnight.
Of course.
And it's beautiful. Like the police immediately, as soon as it was legal, they'll if they see you smoking a joint on the side of the road before, if it was the cop having a bad day, he would bug you. Now, even if it's a cop having a bad day, he won't. He'll just keep going, and you're like, fuck yeah, like because he's like, I'd rather go find somebody who's punching somebody and stop that.
Right. I hear you.
So it's sweet, man. So I love it. I love it. It's like it's just very strange. So what's going on down there?
Well, down in the States, a little bit of later events.
Hmm.
So this is in terms of federal legalization here. Now,
Oh,
this isn't exactly for marijuana itself, but this is for the production of hemp. Hemp, of course,
nice.
being the non psychoactive version of marijuana, really, uh, in layman's terms. There's more to it, but in basically the industrial use of the crop of cannabis and hemp, I guess.
Sweet.
So a congressman introduced a bill on Friday that would create uh, essentially a variety of programs and grants and stuff to help people into the hemp industry in terms of growers, producers, manufacturers, and stuff like that. Help them build their businesses. Uh, this is by now. This is a bill that has been introduced by. Okay, get this name. Representative Denver Riggleman.
Yeah.
Denver
Wait,
Rig-
Riggleman.
Denver Riggleman.
Denver Riggleman. It sounds like that. Well, now I know Denver, Colorado,
Well, he's
but I've never been to Riggleman. Is Riggleman a state? Because I'm
nope.
Canadian. I'm a little ignorant on these things. I could name most of the states. Honestly, if you
Shank, it's
asked
a
me, I'd
man.
probably.
So
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
he's filed the Hemp Opportunity Zone Act. Now, as part of this bill, it essentially grants lower income, census designated lower income areas as that are economically distressed and more rural to be
So, so
opened up to the
simple way to say that is poor rural folk, right?
that pretty much.
Okay, cool.
So the way to so essentially they're adding tax benefits and tax breaks to if people in these rural areas would start growing hemp as a crop. The trade off with this is they would be regulated and seen by the U.S. Treasury to as well as the USDA, the United States Agricultural Division or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so by
Well, I mean,
as well as
if they're opening the
bureaus.
market, they gotta
Yeah,
regulate.
it's also going to be done with bureaus through the FDA, the DEA, and stuff like that. But essentially, this
Hmm.
is going to be for the industrial creation of hemp and to see where exactly the market is for how it can be used in production as such as clothing, oil, animal seed, animal feed, and stuff. Not animal seed; you don't grow them, animal
Yeah.
feed.
Yeah, for
So
like animals to eat.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, and
Which
there's
is great
also
because I've had hemp cereal and it was fucking delicious.
right,
So, I mean,
as well
those
as
animals would be
food
rolling.
sources and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, uh, the bill is in the process being worked on right now, but the bill would call for expanding opportunity for zone eligibility in this market, being very nice.
Yeah, so make it so that if somebody grows corn and they're not allowed to grow hemp right now, it'll make it so that there's more areas in which they're allowed to
Exactly.
grow the hemp, which is
It would
great because that makes it
exactly.
broadens
It
the
wouldn't really
yeah.
put the regulations on the same as per se, tomatoes or actual food agriculture, but probably along the same lines as tobacco, where you have
Yeah.
regulations for exactly what you can do to it.
Well, exactly, because I mean that's the thing is you don't want like well it need to be regulated like tobacco because it would be going into like well that's the thing is tobacco is regulated very similar to how food is regulated in a lot of ways like processed foods.
Right.
Like for example, like potato chips or anything else, like as opposed to like fresh foods that you would eat whole, like cucumbers or whatever. And I learned this from working at a grocery store. It's crazy the stuff you learn working at grocery stores. But what it is that the reason why they fall under a different category and are like taxed differently and everything else is because essentially they're being grown essentially only for the purpose of creating another product. Like wheat, actually, I think it falls under this category as well as one of those crops. I'm not sure. Somebody would have to look it up. You can post in the comments below if you know. But I remember reading it that like wheat is one of the wheat is not weed, but wheat is one of them. I wish wheat was one of them, but wheat is one of them because it is processed into flour and other things. So because it's got that secondary process, they have to be in charge of
Right.
monitoring that process. You know what I
Of
mean?
course.
Like,
It has to
yeah,
be checked because it's going to
yeah.
be ingested
They're
one
the
way or
dudes.
another. So,
Yeah, they're the dudes who
yeah.
decide how many bugs get to go into the Mars bars.
Or into peanut butter. How many spider
Same deal,
legs
yeah.
in the peanut
Like how
butter?
many spider legs are allowed in the peanut butter? They're the ones who decide that, right? Like, I mean,
So,
they don't regulate the cucumbers and onions and like that kind of shit as much
right.
because it's just sold as is. You process it at home. But if it's processed before it's sold to you at home, then that process needs to be scrutinized. So that's cool. Like that's fine. I understand why they would charge.
So yeah,
Yeah.
as the the USDA is currently working to finalize their regulations and everything, which they intend to complete by October 2021.
Nice.
Uh, but in the meantime, the department is systematically approving hemp plans proposed by individual states, territories, and tribes. As of right now, the most recent approvals were in Maryland and the Lower Sioux Indian Community. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that.
I think it's Sioux, like Sioux or
Oh,
Sioux.
it's Sioux. Yeah, just Sioux.
Sioux. Yeah,
My
Sioux
bad.
Indian.
S
Yeah.
I O U X. Sioux.
Yeah, Sioux. Yeah, Sioux. Yeah. I hope. If I'm mispronouncing it, oh Jesus! Now I'm second guessing myself. If you're Sue and you want to like comment and correct us below or say you don't care, either way, cool.
Recognition
But
for
wait, I'm not. Wait a minute. We're not apologizing anymore. We blanket apologized for this, but no, this is actually could be culturally insensitive. So we don't want to be
that's a
those
different
guys.
story. But
That's a different story.
that's
But
a
yeah,
story for
anyway,
another day.
that's a story for another day. But anyway, so the Sioux are they've been approved for hemp plants
Exactly. Yep. Uh well, yeah, they're the most
and
recent
other
approval.
tribes. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's awesome.
So yeah, 6 states that submitted hemp regulatory plans to the USDA are being asked to make revisions and resubmit before they're approved. So,
Well, there you go.
6 states in the works. It doesn't exactly say how many are already on the bill, but it's nice to see that some people are looking for the industrialization of hemp, which would definitely be a big boost to the economy, both on
Yeah,
an
I
economical
entirely
stance in
agree.
itself being
I don't
a
care. Yeah,
huge crop.
yeah.
Huge
I don't
crop
care what
market.
side of the aisle. I don't care what side of the aisle that people stand on politically. As long as like I care more about the
Yeah,
policies they stand for. And politicians,
exactly.
regardless of where they're coming from, whether it's a purely capitalistic, they know they'll make money off of it, or it's
Right.
more of a freedom style. It's not harmful. You should do it way. Basically,
Yeah. Community. So it's good to know.
exactly, yeah. And
Um,
so it's one of those things
yeah.
where basically Should have lost my train of thought there. But yeah,
Well,
anyway, I think we're probably running out of time,
we're
aren't
running
we?
out of time anyway, so we should probably wrap it out. Roll one for the road,
Yeah.
as always, bro. But
Yeah.
be sure to check us out everywhere. Links below. You already know where to do. Twitter,
Yeah, don't
Instagram,
forget
Facebook. But yeah,
don't
have a good one,
subscribe.
bros.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, yell about us to passing strangers as always. Later, buds.